everyone. My name is Kajed, aka Gigi.
And I'm Victoria.
And I'm Mika.
And this is A
Word at the Table
with our esteemed guest,
right.
Nyla. Hi, Nyla.
Hi, Nyla. Say hi to the people.
Hello. Say hi to the people. Hi
She
to
looked like she wanted to say something.
Yeah, it looked like she wanted to say something.
She's too
You guys
interested
again.
today. Say bye-bye. See you guys later.
Bye.
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 Okay.
Oh, she looks so squeezable.
That is our first podcast, baby, if you don't know.
Yep. All right.
Well. How is everyone today? What's going on? I see Vicky got, new style. Yeah.
Let's introduce the new, somebody said I was doing Whitney Houston. I was like, all right, whatever, I'll take that. Yeah.
I like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it.
I got my natural hair that I haven't twisted the back.
Fine.
Yeah, I mean, it looks all right on the camera, but it's not in person.
Okay, well, today we are going to, what I realized? We haven't done an icebreaker in a minute, but
Those are fun.
A bag of questions or icebreaker.
Yeah, we haven't had one of those.
You have one?
No.
Or you just wanted to point that out?
I just realized, because I realize every time I'm just jumping into the topic and I'm like, we usually,
Yeah.
All right. Well, actually, I do have one. What is something about being Christian and following God was like a hard pill to swallow?
Was, still is, forgiveness.
That's a good one.
Yeah, like sometimes I wish like I could without any remorse like take vengeance myself every time somebody does me wrong, but it's not the Christian way.
I'm glad I've never seen it, but I feel it. Like I'm not telling you. You can get bucked, all right?
Yeah, but God is working on me, so I haven't done it, but I wish I could.
Feel you on that. Like, I think one of them for me is like having to be slow to anger and like, not letting your emotions take over, because that's something that's so easy for me. Like, I'm gonna be like, excuse me? Like, hey, what you said? Like, so, and then God is like, chill out. Everything in his word is always like, be quick to listen type of thing. So it's like,
yep,
man, like that's a tough one for me too. And also like renewing my mind, I think is a everyday thing. Like,
it has to be. You don't just clean once and that's it. Like you clean constantly.
Every day.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say forgiveness too, especially when it comes to like people who like really hurt you to the core, where it's like it makes sense, like we don't mess with them anymore. But it's not just forgiveness for me. I feel like it's just the all-encompassing love. It's easy to love people who love you, but like real love towards your neighbor, that I guess that's like what it's not hard for me to work on it, but like I'm constantly learning about it.
Yep.
Yeah, and another one too I was thinking about was the fact that like, because you mentioned love, like the fact that God loves us without us really having to do much. Like, how like
do anything really.
Yeah, like how in the world we just so much that we have to do. Like we're always on, like always have to be on and at work. They just critique your performance in any type of way. You get your little reviews. Like God doesn't review you. Like it's just you. Like it's in the world that we live in. It's just a complete opposite. So that's another thing I have to be like, oh yeah, you just love me. So today we're going to talk about body positivity. Ooh.
Yay. I need that. I just had a baby, so let's talk about it.
And we're 3 women, so who better to talk about body positivity than women?
Yeah.
Exactly. So what does that term mean to you all? Like, what do you think about when you think of body positivity? Did you, what was it like growing up? type of thing, like, or in the world? Like, what does body positivity mean to you in any way?
To me, is embracing my body at whatever stage it's at. Not saying that, like, if, for instance, I have a fitness goal or a weight loss goal, that I will accept my body what in whatever shape it is, but just like, even if I'm working on a particular fitness goal or a weight loss goal or whatever, or toning, I still am content in my body in the stage that it's at right now.
Mm.
Yeah.
I don't want to say you took my answer, but literally, like, like loving my body no matter what stage, that is literally body positivity for me. Because, like, especially the last 2 years, I've been like losing a lot of weight, whether this was like now or like back then. Like, I always felt like I looked fine. So it's just like whatever stage I'm at, like, I'm fine with it, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
That's beautiful, Vicky, that you just like love your body at whatever stage. I'm not like that. Like, I could be very critical of myself. And it's definitely, I feel like it was ingrained in me, like, growing up. Cause like, just being Haitian, I feel like that's something, like, body shaming is like,
oh, normal. It's like how you say hi.
Like, yeah, it's like saying hi. It's like,
oh, yeah.
we can go away. Like,
yeah.
it's just simple. And it's like, oh, thanks. Like, thanks.
Literally, like, while during my pregnancy, like, I didn't gain weight during my pregnancy, really. Not because I wasn't trying to gain weight, but I gained weight like maybe the last 2 months. And then the whole time my mom was like, oh, you need to be bigger. You need to eat more. I'm like, okay, I am eating. And then when I actually started to get big, she was like, which was just my belly getting big. She was like, oh, that's good. Your belly's growing, baby's growing, but make sure once you pop that baby out, you gotta make sure you don't eat a lot. When you start breastfeeding, you're gonna want to eat everything in sight, but you need to restrain because you could blow up. And even when I call my mom now, like, I'm now like 5.5 months postpartum, she will look at me in a video call and she's like, turn to the side.
Oh my gosh.
Are you walking? How much are you eating? Are you like watching what you put? Like, yeah. So, but I've just learned to ignore it. And it took me a while to get there. I've never been like really overweight. I feel like I'm always like on the border of like.
You've never been on anybody's border, girl. Border of what?
In my opinion, I've always been like a little plump.
Okay. Mind you, I've known this girl since like what? We were 10. Girl, all right.
But like I always like I always say one of my biggest fears before was to get fat, and every time I'd say that, I'm like, what's wrong with me? But it's really because of that upbringing of constantly, like, every time you just gain a little bit, not even gain a little bit, like if you eat a meal and your stomach is poking out a little bit, my mom would be like, better start running.
Haitian moms love to be a scale. Oh my God. They just want to be like, you look at you. Let me tell you how big you are. I'm like, okay, I have a scale. Yeah. I'm good. I don't need you. But let me tell you.
You're right. Let me just give you this information that will make you feel bad about yourself just before you walk out the house. Like,
yep.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
So how do you guys combat all of that? Like, what do you do to help yourself see your body in a positive way?
This is gonna sound so cocky.
Say it.
Like, my mom watches the podcast. I love you, Mom.
Oh, she does. Hi, Mom. I love her.
Support.
You know, but like, My mom will love to let me know when, I'm enjoying life a little too much. She'll be like, oh, you're getting big, da 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 da. I just ignore her. Like, I've
Mhm.
never, like, I've never been unhappy with how I look. Like, when she's unhappy with how I look, okay, girl, that sounds like a you problem. I'm fine. I'm literally fine. Like, it's okay. Ask about me. But no, but like, I just don't. I
That's funny.
ignore it. I ignore it.
I
Yes.
can't.
So how do I come for me, like at this stage in my life, the way I combat it is like I just delivered life. My body just went through this
Mhm, mhm.
huge expansion of my belly. Like it was amazing to me how much my stomach expanded. And then when I came home from the hospital, like how much it contracted back to
The
being
snapback.
small. Again, I
Mm.
put this
But
um
still,
yeah, and it's amazing to me. Like when I look at my body now, I'm like, wow. Like thankfully I don't have like any loose skin or whatever. And it's just like how like beautiful is that my body was able to do that. And if it's not where it used to be and it's not as firm as I would like it to be, I still love it. I still think I look good in my body. And I just remind myself of that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's beautiful. I think you know, just like the world that we live in and, people just feeling the liberty to speak on your body is just so ridiculous. And it took me a while and I'm actually still working through it, but like just realizing that other people's opinions don't matter and it's really what I think about myself. Like even if it's on the positive end, let's just say somebody's like, "Oh my god, your body, it's great." Like it's like, it
Mhm.
really
like a
doesn't
little
even matter.
girl.
Right, and it really doesn't matter if I really don't think that about myself. So it's like really it's really what you let in and the things that you let speak into you that really can affect you. And it's like if you're just focused on like how you feel and definitely like incorporating God's word, if you just continue to like meditate on those things, it's like it just gets better and better. And with like people saying things like my mom, I just shut her down. I'll be like, Mom, like go somewhere. Like I'm not trying to hear you. Like even let them know. And even if they don't change, some older people, they just never change. They're just the same. Again, just like really sticking to what the word says about you and how God sees you. I think that's like an everyday process. But it just gets better and better. And it's just like what we should really be focusing on.
Mm-hmm. Which I think something you said that resonated with me is, yeah, don't take the negative or the positive that people say. Like, don't let it hold any weight on you. Just know it for yourself. Because if you don't know it for yourself, like the day that you don't hear positivity coming from people, then that will make you think some
Mhm.
way about yourself. Like, really know it for you and don't let the world tell you.
Especially, you're right. Don't let yourself get too cocky on like good compliments because this body fades. Gravity is going to take its toll on all your
Yeah.
parts, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
like that's not where you should have that's not where your self-confidence should lie. That's not where your self-worth should lie because it's gonna fade. It's not gonna look as good in 10,
Yep.
15, 20 years. It's not.
Yep. Yep.
Right.
Unless you're Angela Bassett.
Right.
Word. She
Why do
looks
I look like
good.
this? But
Uh,
I definitely agree with what you all were saying. And even if it's like outside of your body, like even if your validation is coming from like your job or like other things, it's like that changes too. Like that could something that could happen and like it's not
All
there
that,
anymore.
yeah.
Then what? You know?
yes. Speaking of that, like someone said to me about your job or your career, like if you are centered, if you center your identity with the job that you do, that's something that's very dangerous. Like people
Mhm.
tend to say, I am an engineer, I am an accountant, but you shouldn't say that because then you're identifying with that. You can say, I do I don't know, accounting, or I do engineering work. Not I am, because it's not what I am. This is what I do.
Mm. And you're more than just your job. Like, I
Right.
would hope that you have more to life than just
Yes.
clocking in and clocking out. Like,
Oh,
you are
yeah.
more than just that, you know? So definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, what do you all think about body positivity, like in the biblical sense versus like what the world says is body positivity? Like, what do you? How do those two contrast, or like how do you even like look up at body positivity in a biblical sense?
Well, ooh, hopefully I don't get too much flack for this. I mean, I doubt it, but like, I honestly, we barely get flack for anything. But the one of the things about the body positivity movement that hopefully doesn't get exasperated is like the whole like I can love myself no matter what I look like, which is yes, of course, no matter what you look like, but like don't forget your health. Like,
Yes.
you know, like that's not an excuse to like, you know, rub on your rolls or like whatever. That, you know what, let's edit that part
Yes.
out.
Yes.
Like that's not an excuse. That's not an excuse to just like whatever on your actual physical health and stuff like and what you eat and how you exercise and stuff like that. Because let's not take Lizzo as an example of looking whatever you look. She works out. When you go to a Lizzo performance, she basically does a somersault or whatever, right? Like she takes
Mhm.
care of her health and she looks however you know she wants to look. That's fine. But like if you look a certain way, or even if you look really good and you don't take care of your health, those are both like bad, like
Right.
aspects.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Totally agree with that. I think for me, yeah, in the biblical sense, the way that I see, or I guess the way that I look at body positivity is I always think of I think it's in Psalms where it says, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I think about that, about my mind, like, because sometimes the way I talk to myself, I'm like, oh no, you don't talk to yourself like that because you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Every part of me, my physical, my mental, everything is made by God, wonderfully and fearfully made. So I need to look at myself with his eyes, not with the way that the world looks at me or the way that I may look at myself sometimes. So yeah, I always remind myself of that verse whenever I feel a certain way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. That's definitely one of it. You're right. It's Psalms 139:14. That's one of them. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your
Mhm.
works are marvelous. I know that fully well.
Yes.
And yeah, exactly. And that just makes me think of like so many other things in the sense of like like our own thoughts can be, you know, self-deprecating. So it's like just knowing that God took the time to make us like even like whether if you're like really skinny and people are like eat a sandwich or whether if you're like, you know, big and people telling you to lose weight, like God made us differently for a reason. And
Yes.
you know, we can't just always just be like looking at all the things that we want, but realize that like literally in the womb God created us. So I
Yes.
definitely think that that's something that I try to meditate on and with this world and how, you know, we associate ourselves with, you know, our looks or what we do. Like it's very just like fulfilling to know that God literally took the time to make us the way that we are. And like even when you look at like nature, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Like you don't see a mountain talking about,
Or
oh,
a
I really
sun.
right. So it's just like, you know, like we just have to, you know, really appreciate what God created and
Yeah.
yeah, and just love on ourselves.
Hmm.
Just some Bible verses. Mika already mentioned Psalms 139:14. Um, here's 1 Corinthians 3:16, and it just talks about your body being like the temple.
I was
And
about to say that. Hmm.
yeah, don't you know that you yourselves are God's temple, and what God's spirit dwells in your midst? And it just makes me really think about like also the fact that we are the temple of the Holy Spirit. And like that itself is such a gift, and that itself is like just a way that God shows that he loves us so much, that his spirit lives inside of us. And it's like something to really value. Um, so that's like one of the things that I think about as well. Even if I'm trying to um, speak positivity into myself, like realizing that I have a lot of worth regardless of what I look like or what I do.
Yeah, I think also that that is one of the things that I always value, like exercise and being fit and healthy, because it's a privilege to have health, and it's a blessing. So why should I do things if there are certain things that I can do to take care of this vessel and take care of my body? Why shouldn't I do it? So that's one of the things I say to myself too, like when I don't feel like working out.
Mm,
Like I'll reference like this is, you know, this body is God's temple, so take care of it.
that's good. That's really good. Yeah, and also too, even you mentioned working out. I feel like when I do work out, like I'm just a little bit. I don't know. It just helps my emotions as well.
Well,
Like
you gotta release some endorphins, yeah.
Yep.
yeah, exactly. I get out of like staying home and being lazy and things like that. Like I just gets my mind moving, and it's like I think God cares about all those parts, like your body, your mind, everything spiritually. So I think outside of spiritual positivity, it's also like the body positivity, making sure your mind as well is, and even it's even mentioned in the Bible too, as far as like renewing your mind and like just thinking on the things that are good.
Yes.
So it's all like interlaced.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then one last Bible verse I want to just share as far as like something that can help. Um, there's lots of times like reading the word, like you could also put your name in certain Bible verses to like lift yourself up. So there's a Bible verse, Psalm 46:5. It's God is within her, she will not fall. God will help her at a break of day. And you just put your name in there, and it really helps. Like God is within Mika, God is within Victoria, God is within Chan, and she will not fall. And it's just a good way to just just speak positivity into yourself, and just remember that God loves you, God created you a certain way, and that you're valuable no matter what you look like, no matter what you do. He's just always in love with you, and he's literally there to help you, and lives within you. Like you are a temple. So, yep. Any last words or commentary?
No last words, but I appreciate this.
This is good.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. Yeah, I was I wasn't sure what to talk about, honestly. So I'm kind of happy this came together in the way that it did. But yeah, I definitely do resonate with this topic because it's especially for women. I mean, I think guys too, of course, they feel their way about their body as well. But I think in society, there's a lot of pressure for women to look a certain way. And then it's just like, people just say things, whether family members or even people that you meet, just say things that without even realizing how hurtful it can be. Like even if someone's just like, oh, hey girl, you lost a lot of weight, like eat this food or whatever. It's those small things.
Yeah.
Hey, Vicky?
They're like, oh, you lost a lot of weight. Don't lose too much. I was like, what?
Yeah. Right. It's like right. Exactly. Just never satisfied with your body. And it's like all you gotta worry about is yourself and your happiness, and just focusing on what God says about you. So I hope that this helped anyone who listened, and just follow us on social media if you haven't already, on Instagram, leave her on Twitter. I think Vicky runs that, and Facebook. Yep.
They should start doing shout outs, because sometimes people like, they send us love on Instagram or Twitter, or like, we should start doing shout outs, because obviously most people listen. So they're gonna be like, hey, that's me,
Yeah, leave a comment if you feel like You want to chime in?
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you want a word at the table, do you want a word?
Exactly. You got a word to bring at the table. You want us to talk about a topic. You got something you want to say. Like, bring it to the table. Exactly. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. This is
A Word at the Table.